Welcome to the week of December 22nd. It's a big week. We start this week with a high quality workout of steady state run and hills. This is a combination for a synergistic effect of continuous running with the steady state and interval running with the hills. Most of you have a 3-mile steady state run, and we're certainly thinking high aerobic 75 to 85%, but really we want as much of that as possible at threshold to maximize the benefit of that run. Some of you might have a little bit more, a little bit less on that steady state, but most people are at 3 miles. After the 3-mile steady state, take up to 2 to 3 minutes, quarter mile, somewhere in there, or just launch right into the continuous hills. And I've written that in this workout as 1 to 2 miles. For most of you, some have 1 mile, some have 2 miles, some have that range. But ideally what we're looking for are 20 to 30 second hills, because that's the duration where you can hit it pretty hard. You're not going terribly anaerobic, but you are, as you get to the end of that, you have enough recovery jog back down to the bottom of the hill, and you can kind of regroup, get your breathing back, get your legs back, and do it again. It's enough intensity going up, it's enough recovery coming down to maximize that. I would avoid anything over a minute, and I know some of you would have a hard time finding 1-minute hills. Certainly we can find those, but when you're doing that, then the recovery becomes so long, and since we're doing it by miles, you might only get 2 or 3 hill reps in over that 1 mile if you're doing that, or maybe 5 or 6 if you're doing 2 miles. We'd rather have a few more and a little bit faster, a little bit higher intensity. What we're trying to do is start getting used to a little bit of lactic acid. Again, the recovery is enough to clear all of that, so it's not going to have a cumulative effect. It's not like we're racing a mile where you're going to have to deal with that for a minute or longer towards the end of the interval. Flatter is faster. So if you can't find a good hill, if you can find, okay, it's not the greatest thing, but it's what I have close to home and it's what I have to work with, that's fine, just run faster. If you just don't have anything that remotely resembles a hill, we can go to 20/40s. 20 seconds at all out, 800 to mile pace. So not a true sprint, but pretty fast and much faster than your normal running. 40-second recovery jog. That will give us a very similar effect. If you're doing this on the treadmill, obviously it works out well because you can use that incline. And there maybe you do go a little bit longer than 20 or 30 seconds, because if it takes the treadmill a little bit of time to get up to 3, 4, 5%, whatever you deem is appropriate for that, then maybe a little bit longer is fine. And then you can go to flat if you don't have decline on your treadmill. So good workout there with a little bit of both. I think having both of those components to it, it goes a little faster. The steady state run isn't all that long, and you're kind of thinking about the hills while you're doing that, so it seems to go by a little faster. And because it's continuous hills and you're getting that recovery, the hills go by pretty quick mentally as well. Moderate quality workout this week. I've kept this purposefully on the lighter side because for most of you this falls on Christmas Day. And if you have other things going on Christmas Day besides the run, maybe your family isn't as excited about your moderate quality workout as you might be, then I've made it to where if we need to drop it, it's not the end of the world. If we need to shift it, you can probably do that, and maybe even the long run the next day, though the long run with quality, that might not be the best idea for most of you, but you can do that, or just redistribute the mileage across the week and you end up with about the same weekly mileage, even though we don't get this workout in. But if you can do it, if you do have time, you want to warm up for a mile or two, get to where you're ready to start the progression run of, and it's 2 to 4 or 3 to 5 miles for most people. So the first mile should be comfortable. And I'll define comfortable as not pushing, not holding back. It's just kind of what it is. And then for the next 2 to 4 miles, gradually increase the effort. This shouldn't turn into anything terribly hard. Thus the term light in the title, but we're getting a little bit of quality and setting up for the long run. For the long run this week, it's a building block long run. It is another progression run, but when you do a progression run in the long run, there's only so many miles that you can increase effort or increase pace, or you have to start really easy and you have to finish really hard. So we're breaking this down in blocks, and the blocks depending on the total distance. Some of you have 2 times 2 miles, and then some of you have 3 times 4 miles. So it depends where you are in the total mileage, how much of that you have, and we just want to progress. If we look at this, we should see the warm-up is a given pace. The first block is noticeably faster, but nothing that's going to set you back and dig a big deficit. And then we try to get a little bit faster on the subsequent blocks. You can end with hard running on the last block. We don't really need to turn it into a race because we want to be ready for the high quality workout the following week. Some of you look at a long run and you'll say, well, I'm going to go a little bit longer than that, or I want to hit the top end of this range. That's fine. But I'd rather see the blocks be faster before you start adding on mileage. The following week is going to be another endurance long run, so you get a chance to go longer. And I mentioned this briefly at the group run at Eagle Creek this morning. When you're looking at long runs, figure out where the challenge is coming from. Certainly if you're building long run distance and you haven't done that distance before, the challenge is coming from the distance period. And that's all we need to do that day to get the challenge to go through that. Once the distance is no longer a challenge, then we have to start dealing with effort. And especially when we're bouncing back and forth between a longer and a shorter long run, which I tend to do, when we're doing that, when we drop down a few miles, sometimes it's 2 miles, sometimes it's 6 miles. But when we drop down, we don't want to run that the same pace or the same intensity as we do a longer run, because we're not getting the training benefit from that. And if we're going to be out there doing a long run, we might as well get all the training benefit. So then we want to be running a little bit faster, incorporate hills, incorporate some kind of intervals, do different things. This week is building blocks long run. So make sure that that's fast enough that even though you're probably coming down in mileage, you're still getting at least as much benefit as if you went longer and slower. So that takes us into the week of the 29th, and then shortly we're going to be on to 2026. Have a great week. Enjoy Christmas, Hanukkah, whatever you're celebrating, and with whomever you're celebrating with, have a great time.